morning, everyone. It's lovely with another Bright Line eating vlog. And I just got this question yesterday from my Bright Line accountability buddy. And it's been staying with me in this sort of kind of way. And the question is, how are you using prayer and or connection to spirit and or your guides, your higher power, through Bright Line? How are you connecting up and to your source? And I will and so I want to just talk about my own personal experience, and then I'm really curious, for those of you who watch these videos, what your experience has been. Because I think for me personally, I know that I considered myself a very spiritual person when I came in, well, always, but when I came into OA, which was 6 years ago, and Overeaters Anonymous. And yet it took me many years, and I still, I think, struggle with this a little bit, to kind of use my connection to, I call spirit, my guides. I always kept things separate. I felt like, food and my addiction is, that's my food. That's the problem I have with food and my weight and blah, blah, blah. And, God, higher power, doesn't want to hear about that. That's not what my spirit's for. And it's so funny, because I don't believe that about anything else in life, in my life, in the life in general. But it took me a long time to sort of dispel that myth I created in my mind. And so I think I'm doing the similar thing with Bright Line, with one exception. And I'll tell you the exception in a second. But so I just want to explain for my, purposes. I know everyone has their own, thoughts about spirit, God, if you like that term, higher power, if you prefer that one. I sort of believe in the oneness of everything and everyone. So I'm one of those woo-woo people that people sometimes talk about. I love that term woo-woo, by the way. It's supposed to be deprecating, and I just love using it because I think it's hysterical that people call woo-woo people like me woo-woo. So I call myself woo-woo as kind of a reclaiming that fun term. And I think what people think it means is sort of out there and kind of spiritual in this sort of, I don't know, all over the place way, hippy dippy maybe. So I am self-proclaimed woo-woo, and I get into the woo. So what does that look like for me? Well, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I've come to see, when I connect up to sort of the higher power within myself, is the higher power of the world, of the spirit, and then I also think about these spiritual beings who are sort of in my corner, and I call them my guides. Okay, so the one way so far that I have been connecting to my guides and to spirit is, and I've been doing it consistently throughout Bright Line, which now I'm in my 5th week in Bright Line, is through yoga. And what I mean by that is I have a weekly practice of yoga. And before Bright Lines this past spring, I had a very intense practice because I was training to be a social emotional learning and mindfulness facilitator and yoga instructor. It was this 200-hour training for all of those things. It's designed for educators. So for about 5 months, I was going to yoga. I was doing yoga about 6 hours every other weekend, and then classes in between. And so now my practice is that I'm doing yoga once a week, and it is it's a time for me to get into my body. Checking the time here. It's a time for me to really connect up. It's like I plug into my mindfulness. And if I miss yoga that week, I kind of long for it, crave it, and it does make my body feel good. It's also very challenging right now because of my weight, although I'm pretty good at modifying everything. And I've been able to modify for years. It wasn't just that now that I've been trained to do that. But it's really powerful for me to really be present and mindful. And that, that helps to calm the chatter and the diseased mind and the spinning about food and spinning about anything. So for me, that's what it's looking like. And I've longed to have a more spiritual daily practice, and maybe I will at some point, and start to incorporate. I know people I know a lot of people who meditate daily, and I've tried that. It's never stuck with me. So maybe someday that's something I can look forward to. But at least for now, this seems very right for me. So I'm really curious, for those of you who feel drawn to spirit in your life, whatever way that manifests for you, how you are connecting through your bright lines. So again, I'm lovely, and so are you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.